Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Hiking Journal, The Mist Trail in Yosemite National Park. In this episode, Gerry and I drive back into Yosemite Valley and take a short hike up the Mist Trail to see Vernal Falls in an epic waterfall year. Now, William Henry Jackson was the first person to photograph Half Dome way back in 1870, and he wrote about his passage hiking down into Yosemite Valley past Vernal Falls along what would later be named the Mist Trail. Leaping from stone to stone, poising on slippery logs underwater, clinging to Murphy's hand as if a life preserver, blinded, choked, stifled, drenched, down into that canyon through the steaming wet spray we went. It was impossible to keep one's eyes open for more than half a second at a time. The spray drove and pelted, making great gusts of wind by its own weight as it fell. It seemed to whirl round and round as if to wrap us, as if it were trying to draw us down into the black depths. Well, I guess not much has really changed in the last 153 years. You can just ask Gerry. When the Yosemite Valley Commissioners took over the Yosemite Valley and the Big Trees in 1864, that's what it was called back then, there were only two improved trails in the valley, the Vernal Falls Trail and the trail to Mirror Lake. Now, the trail to the top of Vernal Falls was already in existence, and no one really seems to know its origin. It all started at Happy Isles and went up the south side of the river to the top of the falls. This was probably an old Indian trail rebuilt for horses around 1869 to 1870. The state purchased the Mist Trail in 1882 for only $300, and the Mist Trail now is essentially as it was back then, except where the old trail ended at Fern Grotto, there was a platform and a ladder that led up over the ledge of the lip. Wow, would have liked to have seen that. Later, after one man fell off and was killed, wooden steps replaced ladders, and eventually railings were put up along with the stone steps in 1897. The water gushing over both Nevada and Vernal Falls comes from the mighty Merced River that was named by the Spanish in 1806. Merced River is a 145-mile-long tributary of the San Joaquin River, flowing from the Sierra Nevadas all the way down into the San Joaquin Valley. It is most well known for its swift and steep course through the southern part of Yosemite National Park, where it's the primary water course flowing through Yosemite Valley. And that's the one that's overflowing right now. The river character changes dramatically once it reaches the plains of the agricultural San Joaquin Valley, where it eventually becomes a slow-moving, meandering stream. From its source on the south side of Mount Lyell at 13,114 feet, through a glacially carved canyon within Yosemite National Park, the river flows downstream all the way to Lake McClure Reservoir at 900 feet. Although the name Vernal Falls is an old one, believe it or not, it didn't appear on the map until 1958. Vernal Falls was named way back in 1851 by Lafayette Bunnell, and it is so named because of the cool vernal spray in contrast at midday with the summer heat, and reminded him of an April shower, and because of the bluegrass curiously growing among the dark rocks and the dripping flowers that made an eternal spring to the ground, the Indians called it Yanopah, meaning a little cloud, because of the spray which the old trail passed. I'll be damned. This very popular hike originates near Happy Isles in eastern Yosemite Valley at Shuttle Stop 16. The John Muir and Mist Trails offer spectacular up-close views of two large waterfalls, enjoyable scenery along the Merced River, and unique views across Yosemite Valley. The first paved mile of trail is the busiest and accesses the Vernal Falls footbridge, and that's where a lot of people stop. Almost entirely uphill, you'll appreciate the views along the way, and during spring when the water levels are at their peak, you can also glimpse Illilouette Falls from the first section of the trail. And this first section of trail is a steep mother, and even though it's paved, the incline doesn't make it any easier. You'll find an excellent view of Vernal Falls from the footbridge at just under a mile. 2/10 beyond the bridge, the Mist Trail and the John Muir Trail meet at a signed junction. To proceed directly to the top of Vernal Falls, follow the Mist Trail 1/3 of a mile up steep granite stairways of over 600 steps. Now, I didn't really count them, but it must have been pretty damn close to that. It sure felt like it. Prepare for a slippery footing and a tremendous amount of waterfall spray in the spring and early summer. Yeah, no kidding. At the top of Vernal Falls, you can experience jaw-dropping views straight down the length of the 317-foot waterfall. And please don't cross the railings and use extreme caution while you're near any flowing water or wet rock in this area. It sounds like common sense, but you'd be surprised. Or you can continue uphill in this trail all the way to the top of Nevada Falls. If you choose to continue on the Mist Trail, shortly before Vernal Falls, you'll pass by Emerald Pool and the Silver Apron. Now, both of these may look inviting on a hot summer's day, but it's illegal and dangerous to swim in here due to the extremely hazardous current. Now, remember, a few years ago, some park visitors got swept over the falls to their death. And I've been above Nevada Falls a few times, and it's a great hike, but sadly, Gerry and I didn't have enough time to get to it today. The lower portion of the Mist Trail along Vernal Falls closes in the winter due to the risk of falling ice and rock. And the upper portion of the John Muir Trail between Clark Point and Nevada Falls is closed in winter due to treacherous icy conditions. Now keep that in mind that sections of the trail will remain open in the winter, but they also may be very icy and snowy. View current conditions for trail closures and view historical opening and closing dates for this trail. Now stay on the established trail. Don't try to swim or wade in the river, and for God's sakes, don't walk along the edge of the river. Observe all warning signs and railings. These are there for your safety. Sprained ankles and knee injuries are common on this trail. There are many areas of loose rock and decomposed granite mixed with steep steps and water, which makes for a slippery footing in places. And Gerry and I saw this older dude hobbling down the trail with one pant leg rolled up above his knee and the other pant leg torn. He had obviously fallen, and his pants were soaked completely through, and his knee was a deep reddish purple. It was obviously swollen already, so you got to be really careful. Drinking water is available at the shuttle stop near the trailhead and also at the Vernal Falls footbridge from May to October. Unlike many other trails in the park, several restrooms are available along your hike. Restrooms are located at the shuttle stop near the trailhead, and additionally, restrooms are located at the Vernal Falls footbridge about a mile up the trail. Vault toilets are also available beyond the top of Vernal Falls along the Mist Trail and at the top of the Nevada Falls along the Mist Trail. Parking is not available at the trailhead, but you can park at Curry Village less than a mile away from the trailhead, and that's where we had to park, actually just on the other side of Curry Village. The Mist Trail from the John Muir Trail junction just uphill from the Vernal Falls footbridge to the top of Vernal Falls will be closed Mondays through Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. from July 10th through November 2nd. The trail will be open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and will usually be open from 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. There may be a couple of nights where the trail must remain closed for construction repair. Okay, so now you know all about Vernal Falls, the Mist Trail, and the Merced River. Let's head up there and check it out. Well, this is where the Merced River comes down from Vernal Falls along the Mist Trail, and it works its way downstream into Yosemite Valley. And over here on the right is the start of the Mist Trail. That's where we're going to be going here in a minute. Yeah, as we start Gerry and I's hike up the Mist Trail. We didn't get here. It's almost 1:45. It's extremely late for us. There was nowhere to park in the valley. We went to Curry Village. It was just an absolute nightmare parking. We drove around and around. We ended up parking about half a mile away. And forget that it's a mile from Curry Village to get to the start of the Mist Trail. So not only do we park a mile away, we haven't even started the hike. But we're just going to go up to Vernal Falls. We might just turn around and come back. We just want to see the water, see the falls, see what it looks like. Dave's back in camp, taking a break after that tough hike yesterday up to Yosemite Falls. It still ought to be fun. We're going to take it slowly but surely and see what great views we get today along the Mist Trail. All right, well, here's our sign. This is the start of actually the John Muir Trail as well. This is where the base that most people can think of when they start at the Mist Trail, top of Vernal and Nevada Falls, and they hook up with the John Muir Trail and head all the way up to Pauline Meadows. This is the first segment. So there you go. Via the John Muir Trail, 211 miles as if you do the whole thing. But we're heading up that way along with 3 million other people. This is the busiest trail in all of Yosemite National Park. All right, well, we're just a little ways up the Mist Trail to Vernal Falls. We got that really steep asphalt section. And obviously you can see how busy it is. This isn't even a weekend or a holiday. This is just a Tuesday. But because of all the media coverage on how high the water volume is down the Merced and the flow rate over Yosemite and Bridalveil Falls and Vernal and Nevada Falls, it's tempted a lot of folks to come out here. And since this is the busiest trail in the park, and we're starting a lot later than normal. We kind of figured it'd be busy, but we're just gonna take our time, enjoy the shade, hopefully get a good view of Vernal Fall. Well, if you hear that roaring sound, that is the Merced flowing under the Vernal Falls Bridge. And as you can tell, it's a busy place. And the amount of water coming down is pretty impressive. It's all coming down from Vernal Falls and working its way all the way down to Yosemite Valley. And also, this is the downhill side right here. That downhill side is going down. Pretty impressive. Let's look over here. This is the uphill side. This is flowing right out of Vernal Fall and Nevada Falls, coming downhill. Going to be heading up that way. It feels good here. Nice cool breeze. Pretty impressive. The volume of water flowing downstream. And also, look at the crowd. All from the Vernal Falls Bridge. All right, well, Vernal Falls is right ahead of me here, and we're watching the water flow downstream. People are starting to break out their ponchos for the mist trail. Probably in another couple hundred yards, we'll start to get wet. All right, well, behind me is Vernal Falls, here along the mist trail. I'm gonna have to cover the camera up because it's gonna get real wet here in a second. We're gonna be working our way up. We're gonna be running the GoPro, so we'll see what happens. If you can hear me, we're working our way up the mist trail to Vernal Falls. home drive. Let's go to the next landing. Yosemite National Park. It is drenched. Absolutely drenched. Alright, I'm so good to go now. Alright, head back down. Okay, so I didn't really shoot a lot of video on our adventure actually hiking up the most dramatic sections of the Vernal Falls. It was just too wet. I got absolutely soaked. So did Gerry, even wearing our ponchos. I took my recording gear, but since it's not waterproof, I could only go up so far without risking damage to it, so I had to tuck it in under my poncho. My GoPro was waterproof, of course, but most of the footage was too shaky to really use, and it was kind of pointed the wrong way. Well, maybe another time. Anyway, you get the idea. You same spot? You got a further out view, there you go. Well, at least it's not cracked. It's still wet though. 1, 2, 3. Well, what do you think of our trip to Yosemite National Park during one of the wettest years on record? We got a great look at the Merced River during flood stage, powerful Yosemite Falls at its peak, and a very, very wet trip up the Mist Trail to see Vernal Falls. We also ate some great campfire food, had a few beers, and enjoyed magnificent Yosemite National Park as it's meant to be seen in full spring glory. In case you're wondering, Gerry's new cell phone sustained a crack on the screen when I dropped it on the rocks near Vernal Falls and quit working altogether on the hike back to the car that was tightly wedged into a tiny little parking spot near Curry Village. I really felt bad about that, about his phone. Thankfully it was insured, and Gerry only got stuck paying the deductible to get it working again. Alright, well, we got the fire going here. We're tending to the food. We got bratwurst, we got some buns, we got fried potatoes, and we got some salmon cooking. Looks like the salmon's getting pretty close. That one is probably done. This one is getting closer. Look at that. Look at that salmon right off the grill. Put some potatoes on there, Dave. What? What? Oh, I think it's done. Dave's gonna check it. Done. All right. I already put seasoning on it, so this is Dave's meal for the day. Salmon, fried potatoes. Mine's getting pretty close. It's not quite there yet. Dave, you ready for a wiener too?
Sure. Oh, my goodness.
just take the wiener and put it on your plate. Kind of an odd combination. We've got bratwurst and salmon. That's gonna be my brat for the day. Fried potatoes. See if I can set this out here out of the fire a little bit. Ooh, that's hot, as you can imagine. All right, well, this is what we've got tonight. We've got salmon, brats, and some fried potatoes. Oh, the salmon is pretty good. It's potatoes are still hot. Salmon is nice and flaky. Just a little bit of crust right here. Perfect. Well, good morning. We slept pretty good last night. I got the coffee percolating this morning. Gonna have pancakes and eggs this morning. That's pretty good. While the coffee's brewing this morning, you can smell it. This is fresh percolated coffee from an old camp coffee pot, and the smell is just permeating the whole campsite. It just smells phenomenal. So hopefully our pack up will go pretty smooth today. I don't know what we're going to do. We might hit a small day hike on the way out. We might not. We don't know. I do have to unload everything out of the Jeep because my organization skills are pretty bad. There's stuff scattered everywhere. So anyway, hopefully it'll all go smooth this morning. The pancakes and eggs will come out good. And the one thing we did forget last night with our salmon and our potatoes, we bought some yellow squash and some zucchini. And Gerry found it in the ice chest yesterday looking for a drink, and I go, oh my God, we forgot to make it. So we're gonna have pancakes and eggs and zucchini, I guess, for breakfast. Anyway, it looks like it's gonna be another gorgeous day here in Yosemite. It's overcast and drizzly, May gray at my house, but out here it's clear as a bell. So anyway, hopefully breakfast will turn out real good. We'll get a nice full belly, get a good start to our day. On our way home, we made what would be our post-Yosemite ritual, a stop off at Salty's Barbecue in beautiful Bakersfield. Why are you laughing? We got a great parking spot right out front and watched Bakersfield Police Department serve a search warrant right across the street. How's that for entertainment? Salty's got some award-winning tri-tip barbecue and brisket and pulled pork to go with some amazing baked beans, and man, oh man, it really hit the spot after this epic adventure. Since we had to drive all the way through LA during rush hour traffic, Dave and I decided to make a pit stop at Gerry's house to stretch our legs and take a whiz. Now, Gerry showed us an old abandoned rundown house out back, and we had a great time just nosing around in the rubbish trying to find some vintage tools. We were hiking along and we found this old abandoned house. Looks like they're in the process of cleaning it up, maybe? Kind of hard to tell. Boy, what a mess. Some paint cans in here. Looks like it's sustained quite a bit of damage. An old abandoned house was creepy and exciting at the same time. I did manage to lighten a demolition crew's load, and I took a few things home to restore, a little added souvenir to our trip this year. Well, that'll do it for another edition of Hiking Journal, our Yosemite Spring Adventure. As always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and tap that notification bell to get the latest updates to the channel as I post them. Also, don't forget to tell your friends about the channel. There's a ton of great hikes and adventures from the Mexican border all the way to Mammoth on it, and maybe there's one near you. On the next edition of the Hiking Journal, I take a short day hike up into the Santa Rosa Plateau, a preserve that's been closed for 2 years, and I finally got a chance to go on the second day it opened. Anyway, take care and I'll see you down the trail. Bye-bye.